Okay, we're talking today, Sex Talk with Dr. Clark and Dr. Volker. And Dr. Volker, can you tell us about the sex response cycles? Say a little about that.
A sex response cycle is when people's body gets aroused, and the brain will send down neurotransmitters and blood to public parts and private parts. And people can get aroused, and their brain interprets it either as this is great, or depending on what they're told about arousal or not, they may think that's not so good, or they may keep it a secret. And so, but arousal is very normal. Absolutely. First of all, blood flow happens. The brain sends down blood flow to public and private parts. That's normal. And then the brain would interpret, do I like this or not so much? Do I like that or not so much? And that's part of the response cycle as well. The arousal and the interpretation plateau. And then your autonomic nervous system can allow you to have an orgasm. Babies have orgasms, muscle contractions. Little kids do, muscle contractions. And that's brought to you by your autonomic nervous system, which is also responsible for burping, passing gas, coughing, sneezing, and orgasm. And of course, then when you move into adolescence, there's going to be some changes and some different feelings because of hormone changes. Hopefully, you would feel good or relaxed after an orgasm. That would depend on the meaning of the whole sex response cycle. So some people are very, very, I'm going to say, efficient in it, and some people are more complex, depending on their background and history. But it is normal for people to have a sex response cycle. Yes.
So what I'm hearing you say, Dr. Volker, is that our sexual responses, how our bodies respond to sexual cues, are keyed into our brains, into that autonomic nervous system. And so we're going to have them, but then what we do with them, the meaning we give to them, we take that in from our environment, from our families, our friends, our religions, and then we're told what to do with that. And that sounds like we might get some very mixed messages there. Our body's telling us one thing, and our environment, our social, the family environment is telling us something else.
That's truly important, Dr. Clark, because understanding how we feel about that means to look at what we were scripted with, what messages we got. Babies come into the world with all these responses. And then we all had I call it the back history of messages and role models. And sometimes it separates, it can be separated. What is very normalized in a sex response, if you were told it's nasty, then people begin to separate their sexual response from what I call their spiritual or heart response. And so that part is very important for all of us to be honorable about. How do I respond to my sex response? How do I communicate about it? What were messages that I got that could be affirming, and what could be confusing? And that's the good news about counselors to me, is that they can help us sort that all out.
Right. So the key to good sex is being raised by parents and other people who are giving us positive messages about our bodies and about our sex response. And when we get those mixed messages and then we're having problems with sex, then we need to go see a counselor or educator to help us sort that out and look at where we went off track and turn that around so that we can feel good about our bodies and our sexual responses.
Absolutely. And I don't blame parents because many of them well, they could have been born in a time of life or a country or before there were YouTubes of any kind. And so therefore they had no even words to put to a sexual response. So it's important, again, I'm going to talk about that people really see, I want to value my sex response. I want to value it. So who are people on my dream team that can help me reframe those messages and develop positive sexual self-esteem? Yes, totally agree, Dr. Fleck.
Thank you, Dr. Volker.